Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel, Trading Secrets. This channel is for entertainment purposes only. For those of you who do not know, my name is Ali. I have over 20 years experience teaching accounting, economics, business and law. And through this channel, I'll be providing some stock analysis and a quick update on the $1 Million Challenge. For anybody who's not aware of this, this is a journey of an investment of $1,000 to a return of $1 million over a period of 3 years using a strategy called compound return investing. So the objective is to try to get 201 trades, each with an average return of 3.5%. It's not 201 consecutive trades, we do take into account losses. So for further details about how to join us in the challenge and for in-depth exclusive strategy video information is available in the description below. This video is sponsored by Skillshare. Skillshare is a website for creative and curious people, lifelong learners, beginners and professionals. It's also an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes for everybody who loves learning. Some of the key benefits of Skillshare include it being ad-free, and it also has new premium classes which are added every week. Let's now head over to the Skillshare website and have a look at some of the key features. So on the screen here, you'll see as soon as I get to the website, I get a message here, welcome back Ali, you are ready for your next lesson, question mark. So as you can see on the screen here, I'm currently doing a lesson there which I'm going to share with you shortly with regard to automated trading bots. So further down, as you can see on the screen here, there's also a recommended for you section, and that includes things that I may be interested in, such as Binance, cryptocurrency, and how to invest and profit with crypto. Going further down, I also follow Adobe Illustrator, so I have recommendations there for Adobe Illustrator. I'm also interested in Photoshop, so there's pretty much any courses here available for almost any topic, from trading to tap dancing. And further, if we go back up, we also have sections here in terms of on the browse section where you can search here. You can see topics here include music, illustration, graphic design, marketing, lifestyle, productivity. So there is almost everything here for anybody who's interested in learning. I'm now going to share with you on the screen here one of the new courses that I've also just started. So the title of this course is BitsGap Cryptocurrency Bot Trading Course 2022. So on the screen here, you'll be able to see, so as soon as I've completed one of the video courses, I get a tick. So we have an introduction, what is BitsGap, how to sign up with BitsGap, all the way down. Once I've completed it at number 13, we'll have a section on my exchange management. So this is something that is I'm currently following. So if you look further down, I get an overall project description. I can read reviews, have a look at the discussions, as well as the student projects. So this is an excellent site if you want to increase your learning. The final thing I'd like to say is the first 1,000 people to use the link in my description below or the code Trading Secrets will get 1 month free trial of Skillshare. So please go ahead and join. In the previous video, we did an important update on ticker symbol SAVA, Cassava Sciences, so please refer back to the previous video for a very important update on that bio stock. We also did an update on ticker symbol MMTLP, so we're going to follow up that today and also look at MMTLP again, and also look at a new updated special dividend calculation from one of the viewers, and we're going to be comparing that one with one of my previous calculations. And I'm also going to be doing a stock update for ticker symbol HUSA, so stay tuned for that. So before we start on the dividend calculation, I just would like to clarify one of the things from the previous video, and that was with regard to implications for people holding MMTLP in Canada. So I'm going to give another shout out here to Dustin Kavanagh on Twitter. So just for anybody else who's holding MMTLP in Canada, so the clarification should be explained in this in this tweet on the screen here. So I'm going to also give a shout out here to Fossilface, and what he said first of all is, well, simple, inform me to transfer it out of TFSA to non-registered account by August 30th or they would sell it. It put me through transfer, but WS hasn't removed it. Yes, they said very busy because it's a manual thing for them. Said nothing about not getting our dividends. So again at the bottom, what Dustin has responded by here, he said you can move out to a cash account, RRSP, however will it be largely taxed? I have an LIRA, so this is the one that you need to be paying attention to if you are holding your MMTLP in LIRA. So LIRA is a locked-in retirement account. So that's what Dustin was specifically talking about in the previous video. And what this basically means, if you are holding MMTLP in an LIRA account, which will be locked due to being a retirement account, I can't remove any funds or securities, can only buy and sell within it. So basically what that means for Dustin and anybody else potentially holding MMTLP in an LIRA is that MMTLP will have to be sold. No dividend for me or others with LIRA, unless of course we get a very, very quick resolution to the matter. So over to you, Management Board of Meta. I'd like to now give a shout out to Paul Young, who's responded on one of my previous videos in the comments. So thank you, Paul, for your post here, which I thought was very, very constructive and very informative. And what Paul said here a few days ago is the number one thing he agrees with is George would have said it would take a year or more in the beginning, people would have less of a problem. So again, that's something I think 99% of people will agree with, that we were never ever told that it could potentially take a year or more. So the phrase, according to my research, is thrown around by bears and bulls, but nobody is talking about research or their sources of information, and everything is opinion. So he's also talked about the price of oil. But at point number 3, he's talked about, in terms of what he agrees with, that basically the greatest sign it'll be worth is the people owning the majority of it if they all hold all their shares. You can go back to the pre-merger to research, understand how all of this was set in motion. So basically what he's talking about here at the bottom is in terms of calculation of the dividend, and the presentation was looking at approximately 3.5 billion barrels of oil. So again, a few people have said that there is no proof of oil, but again, if you look at the investor presentation materials of the previous company Torch, you will see that there is confirmation of oil, as well as that there's confirmation of gas. So what I'd now like to do is just have a quick look at an email from Paul. So you'll see here again, Paul reached out to me here and he said, Ali, I know some people have done bar charts to show how much dividend is based on, looking at different costs per barrel and also looking at refined WTI. Considering we don't know what price McCabe is willing to sell, nor what price a buyer is willing to settle, on my calculation gives you values based on changing the price that can be entered in cell 2. So let's now have a look at Paul's calculation through his spreadsheet. Let's now have a look at the calculation presented by Paul. So using Google Sheets on the screen here, you'll be able to see how everything is presented. So we're going to now, before we look at the figures, he has put a little note at the bottom, basically saying that the calculation is just for evaluation. It's based on the worth, which is how much the buyer is willing to pay. So of course, everything is subjective and everything is down to buyers and sellers and an agreement. So in terms of speculation from Paul's calculation, let's see what he's come up with. So first of all, he entered the current price of oil, $119. I have now updated that to the spreadsheet because oil is currently trading around about the $120 mark at time of editing. So he's added in here operating expenses based on his DD, looking at 37.4%. Of all the barrel of oil. So the barrels of oil, he's estimating here 3.2 billion barrels of oil. It could be a little bit more, it could be a little bit less. He's also looked at 37.4% of the current barrel of oil based on the WTI, and reducing that comes down to $44.88. He's then looked at the price of a barrel mining the operating expenses, giving a figure of $75.12. Then he's looked at the Texas A&M valuation method, looking at oil in the ground. That's giving a value of 12.3%. And then he's also looked at 12.3% of gross equals net, giving a valuation there of $9.24. Then we look at the Torch working interest, which was 49%. Giving it an overall value bit on the barrel of oil of $4.53, highlighted there in yellow on the left hand side. So on the right hand side, let's have a look at the other calculations in terms of using this $4.53 based on the 3.2 billion barrels of oil. This gives us in excess of $14.4 billion. So in excess, so we've got the 3.2 billion barrels of oil, times that by $4.53, giving a total valuation there just in excess of $14.48 billion. So corporation tax 20%, he's calculated just in excess of $3 billion. So the 14 minus the $3 billion gives us a value of just in excess of $11.4 billion. The fees 10% would equate to approximately $1.1 billion. And then take that away, we're still left with just in excess of $10.3 billion. So now he's taken out a $40 million loan, plus the interest, $4 million, giving a total of $44 million. And then that, minus that away from the total. So now from the 10.3 million, we've got $10.2 billion of oil. So in terms of the qualifying dividend shares, just approximately 164.9 million, giving an estimated dividend of $62.19. So I hope that's fairly clear. So what I've also done is given a couple more adjustments in terms of his spreadsheet. So on a maximum, on a high, if we go, obviously we know what's happening right now in terms of the company, there are a lot of delays. So if this is based on later on down the line when oil hits $150, at the bottom right hand side, you can see the figure jumps up quite significantly to $77 per 0.81 per MMTLP share. So that is an extremely bullish point of view. And then finally, let's have a look at the bearish. And the bearish, I think I cannot see oil going below $100 this year. But let's say if it does go to $100, again, we got a new dividend calculation on a bear side using Paul's calculation of $51.78, which again, I think the 99.99% of investors and holders of MMTLP will certainly be pleased with. And what I'm now going to do is finish off the looking at his calculation, comparing with one of my previous calculations. On the screen here, you'll see one of my previous calculations that I did was the key difference here between mine estimate and Paul's estimate is mine is based on the acreage and selling the land. In terms, obviously we know the land is owned by the university, but we're selling the land in terms of the mineral rights to the land, so that whoever owns the land has access to a share of the assets in terms of oil and gas. So basically using that point of view, not using the dollars per barrel. So on my calculation here, based on 134,000 acres of land, looking at working interest 0.665, and looking at an average per acre sale of $32,000. And again, in terms of the Torch Origando sales, giving obviously we have a figure there of 2,851,520,000, 10% legal and admin fees, take that away, and then working that out, that comes to approximately $15.55. But what Paul's calculation didn't take into account is the additional land from the Permian Basin sale. I've estimated that at $1.10 in addition to the $15.55. And what Paul's calculation and my calculation did not take into account is also the valuation of the assets in terms of gas. We know gas is rocketing right now. So from my calculation here of $16.65, I could certainly put a premium of $3 minimum there, so giving a calculation overall from my side close to $20. So now we have my more conservative calculation of $20 compared to Paul's $60. Obviously I would prefer Paul's calculation. So now it's over to the company to see what the actual figure is. I'm now going to have a look at ticker symbol HUSA, also known as Houston American Energy Corporation. So before we do that, I'm just going to give a quick shout out on the comments to Khan Artist. A few days ago, he said, please cover HUSA, it is hot right now. So of course, we are aware that this is a stock that has been making exceptionally good gains. And this is a stock that we have been covering in the Discord and watching it very, very carefully. It's been, if you have a look on the screen here, this was called on the 5th of June. And it was also called in our watch list earlier on the 17th of April. So if you have a look at the list, the screenshots here, again, called twice previously. And let's now have a look at the chart for HUSA, Houston American Energy Corporation. So according to the chart, you'll see here over the previous month, this stock is up in excess of 151%. Close of play on the Friday, it was up in excess of 1.57%. Closing at $7.10. So again, it's extremely bullish. It's a high risk stock. It's in the energy sector, so it's obviously it's benefiting from current trends. And at one point, it did reach a price close to $8.50. So again, Houston American Energy Corporation. Let's now have a look at a company profile. Let's now have a quick look at the company profile from the investor relations page. Here we can see in terms of an overall overview, the company was incorporated in April 2001 for the purpose of engaging in oil and gas exploration and production. So Houston American Energy Corporation, trading on the New York Stock Exchange, is looking at production in oil and gas in terms of the main areas they're focusing on, primarily across the US. But what's interesting here, looking at our previous stock, it's also based in the Permian Basin. So this is obviously oil rich land, as well as that on the onshore Gulf Coast region, principally Texas and Louisiana, and it's also located in Colombia overseas. So we're going to now quickly move on to look at the trading accounts. So on the screen here we can see the recent release first quarter results, and I think the figure I'd like to draw your attention to is the oil and gas revenue. So prior to the situation with what is happening right now in Ukraine, we can see with a very close increase, close to 30% in oil and gas revenue. So 2021 equivalent period was just in excess of $328,000. Right now we're looking at that increasing to now $423,000. So again, very good increase. But what's interesting at the bottom is in terms of the net loss. This has reduced quite significantly. So from a loss of 268,000, it's now got a loss of just in excess of 165,000. So although it's not profit making, it's certainly moving very close to that. And I do expect with what's happening right now with the price of oil to have significant changes in the next quarterly results. So what I'd now like to have a look at is the balance sheet. So if we have a look at the balance sheet on the screen here, again, what's much more interesting here is from the current assets, total current assets. We're going to focus on 2022, just in excess of $5.2 million. So that includes cash equivalent, accounts receivable, prepaid expenses as well. So in terms of liabilities, total assets before we look at the liabilities, including obviously oil and gas properties. So the company has equivalent in excess of $10.7 million. So in terms of the liabilities at the bottom, we can see total current liabilities, a nominal figure there, just in excess of 223,000. So comparing that with the total assets, company is extremely cash rich. Finally, if anybody would like to get advanced notification of stocks such as HUSA, as well as that stocks such as Redbox and Mullen Automotive, and also live trading where we discuss stocks such as Meta Materials, you can join our Discord for as little as $9 a month. Thank you very much for watching. Please stay tuned.